Lasts about 20 seconds, and then after that we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Serby couldn't be here tonight. He did notify us last week. Any additions to the agenda? Approval agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Mr. Lehman?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Schick?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion to approve the minutes of July 1st, 2020 work session, July 15th, 2020 regular meeting, and July 29th, 2020 continued regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Mr. Lehman?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Schick?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay, let's get down to business. We've got some exciting times here tonight. I'd like to welcome the Dotson Group to come and do a presentation on the potential development project that they were proposing to the town of Colonial Beach. If you gentlemen don't mind, the podium is right over here. If you can make sure that you talk into it, the microphone would be great, and also introduce yourselves. Perfect.
You guys can be here. Just make sure this microphone's on.
It's okay if I stand here so I can see the screen, if that's okay.
Sure.
Great.
Can you place the microphone towards him? Because our YouTube stream online, if it doesn't pick up in the mic, then
Gotcha.
you'll be there, but they won't hear anything you're saying.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Yeah, Town Council in Colonial Beach, thank you for having us. My name is Duke Dotson with the Dotson Development Group in Richmond, Virginia. I'll be as brief as possible and try to give you as much flavor as possible of what we would love to do here in Colonial Beach. Dotson Development Group, like I said, we're located in Richmond. I started a company called Dotson Property Management in Richmond 13 years ago. We manage about 6,000 rental units throughout Central Virginia. So we manage single-family homes, apartment units, office, retail, and associations. For the last 7 years, we've been developing real estate in Richmond. I think one thing that makes us unique as a developer is we like to build communities, so we don't like to do one project in a city or town and move along. We like to do multiple projects in the same neighborhood, each project building on the last project, each project complementing each other, thinking truly about what that neighborhood or community wants and needs by engaging the citizens and the folks who live there to bring us ideas. And we've tried our best here in Colonial Beach to figure out for each of these parcels what's the highest and best use of that land. What does the town want? What does it need? And what's the best thing we can do there with that land to help the neighborhood and the community move forward? Those are a couple of projects you see that we've done in Richmond. On the larger end, we've done a 118-unit apartment building in Scott's Addition. And something on the lower end, the bottom picture is a 15-unit building in Shockoe Bottom. Most of the work we've done in Richmond has been in Shockoe Bottom, Scott's Addition, and the Arts District. And again, we've done multiple projects. We've done a couple of blocks of each other, trying to build communities and build neighborhoods. We think what we're presenting is advantageous to the town. Because you're getting these parcels that aren't producing tax revenue on the tax rolls. I think that's pretty obvious. I think you're building something here. The town already has momentum, and I think what we're doing here just complements that momentum. The increased tax base is obviously going to go towards projects that the town wants and needs, including schools. Why is a Richmond developer even interested in going out of town? Again, most of what I've done has been in Richmond. Most of what my company has done has been in Richmond. The reason why Colonial Beach is interesting to me I grew up in Roanoke with my mom, and my dad was in Fredericksburg. Whenever I would visit my dad, he would always take me somewhere near the water. He would take me to Lake of the Woods in Orange County. He would take me to Fairview Beach, or he'd bring me here to Colonial Beach. Before he died last year, he had a house in Fairview Beach, and every year for the Kentucky Derby, he would run me here to Colonial Beach to bet on the ponies. He thought that was the coolest thing. And so I got a feel for Colonial Beach over the last 20 years of what it was, what it is, and kind of where it's going. So when I saw the listing online, I got really excited because I like the town. My family was looking for a place near Richmond that we could enjoy the water and build a second home for the next 20 or 30 years. And everything that Colonial Beach has is building towards that. And I get really excited. It's an hour and 15 minutes from our office, an hour and a half from my house, which means we can get here for a Thursday through Sunday pretty quickly. Way closer than the Outer Banks, way closer than Lake Gaston. And we love the downtown aspect, the golf cart aspect. I don't want to just have a house on the river to eat by myself. I want to have a house on the river, but I want to be able to go downtown to eat, to have a beer, to have ice cream, bring the kids on the golf cart. And my dad had a golf cart in Fairview Beach, and my kids loved it. But there's only 2 places to go in Fairview Beach. In Colonial Beach, you have a lot more to offer. So that's why I'm here and not there. So what we're proposing here is 4 phases. On the screen you see phase 1, 2, 3, 4. The first phase is the corner of Douglas and Wilder. We're proposing there to build 34 townhomes, and you can see those in the 2 pictures over here. The bottom picture is the site plan, and the top picture is what it looks like from the corner of Douglas and Wilder. So these would be 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath townhouses with rooftop decks. With rooftop decks, you should be able to see the river and the bay. Again, pretty excited that my wife and my kids will have a house here in this development, and pretty excited what that would look like. It's going to have a pool house, and a chipping and putting green, so I can chip balls while my kids swim in the pool. Phase 2, the 3 office buildings at the corner of Irving and Hawthorne. Most of our experience in Richmond has been historic tax credit rehabilitation, so taking old buildings, bringing them back to life with the use of historic tax credits. Really excited the work that Joyce and others have done in the town to get this area noted as a historic district, and that's really important for the town and the future of these buildings. And we plan to restore those 3 buildings, making 2 of them office. One of them will be an office for Dotson Property Management. One of them would be a small co-working space. If you're not familiar with co-working, picture a building broken up into smaller offices where multiple different businesses can each run an individual office but share amenities like coffee, kitchen, bathrooms, conference rooms, reception, etc. The 3rd building, the brick building, the crown jewel in that corner, that bank building, we'd love to attract a restaurant or a brewery to occupy that space. Phase 3 is the land along the water, and you can see those pictures there on that corner. What we're proposing there is a 3-story building, the first story being retail, bookended by restaurants on each corner. The restaurants would all have space recessed, meaning there'd be plenty of outdoor space. So in case this COVID thing lingers for a while, these restaurants should be able to stay in business because they have plenty of outdoor space, not just indoor space. And in the middle would be your more traditional retail, such as coffee, pastries, candy, ice cream, things like that. Phase 4 is the land, the parking lot near the casino. We're proposing that to be a boutique hotel, something like 60 to 90 rooms, not a Holiday Inn, but a boutique operator that would come in here and do something interesting and unique to Colonial Beach. These boutique hotels, probably visited some of these in Richmond or Farmville or Lynchburg, or they're popping up everywhere, and it's a really cool destination spot. It's a reason to come to the town, come stay in the hotel and then experience all the town has to offer. And so on that project, we would partner with a boutique hotel operator to develop and operate that hotel. So to give you some visuals of what it would look like, this is a site plan of phase 1. Again, this is the 34 townhouses at the corner of Douglas and Wilder. A row of townhouses facing Douglas, pool house, chipping, putting green, and then 2 rows of townhouses along Wilder there. This is what it looked like from an aerial shot. And note that, again, each of these townhouses would have a rooftop deck. I'm going to turn it over to our architect on this project, James Hill with Fulton Singh. He can say a little bit about how we got to what these townhouses would look like.
Yeah, so I think Duke did a good job of kind of setting everything up. As he mentioned, we've got 34 townhouses. What we're doing is trying to take as much language as we can from the historic houses around the town and in the adjacent neighborhood, try to take some of the detailing of trim work and railings, some of the more kind of ornamental things from the kind of Victorian styles and craftsman styles, so that it fits in with the neighborhood. Also hoping to kind of break down the scale, since it is a larger development, try to break it down a little bit to make it feel a little more quaint and of the town. So these are just some of properties around town that you guys, I'm sure, are all familiar with, that we drew some inspiration from the good ones. These are some other images of projects that we've seen in other towns that we feel like can also kind of inform what we're doing here. Pulling some historic language, but then also a little bit of contemporary language as well. As this is a growing town, trying to attract people from, say, DC that are coming down and either relocating or having a second home here, and kind of pulling in some of that contemporary language as well. As you can see, kind of breaking down the scale into smaller volumes, so it's not such a big mass. So this is kind of the proposed development from the corner of Wilder and Douglas. So these would be kind of on the upper terrace where the school used to be. And so what we're doing here, we have each unit is roughly 2,000 square feet. Ground floor would be a carport and storage area for any sort of beach gear or anything like that. A small kind of front stoop outside of the front door. Main living spaces would be on the second floor with a front porch that's fronting the street, and then also a back porch that would be kind of overlooking the public amenity space as well. And then 3 bedrooms, 2 baths up on the 3rd floor, and then as Duke mentioned, a rooftop deck as well. Trying to get views both to the water across at the river, but then also to the bay as well. This would be a view kind of from the 2nd floor back porch overlooking the pool area. It would be a 20 by 30, or a 30 by 60 pool, chipping green there off to the right, and then a pool house with kind of a picnic area and grilling area as well. And then you're seeing kind of down that new private street that's between the units on the lower terrace.
Yeah, and one note on this, when we presented our last picture, it looked a little different. And, town council told us that we need front porches. So I hope it goes to show we don't know everything, but we do listen and we try to improve. So we're trying to take as much input as possible. So phase 2 is the 3 office buildings, again, at Irving and Hawthorne. Again, we would do historic tax credit rehabilitations of these 3 buildings, and the school board and the Chamber of Commerce building would be office space, and then the corner building most likely be retail. Again, I would love to get a brewery or a restaurant to occupy that corner. This is a look of the floor plan of the retail waterfront building. On the first level, you would have parking to support the condo owners, but also some of the retail. We would have 3 to 5 bays, most likely 4 retail bays, again bookended on the corner, hopefully by restaurants, with recessed space for outdoor seating, and then the 2 inner bays most likely to be the more traditional retail uses. The right side of the screen is what your floor plan for the condos would look like. So each level would have 16 condos, total 32 condos. Those would be 2 bedroom, 2 bath condos most likely, most of them having water views. I'll let James talk about the architecture of this building.
Yeah, so again, we're trying to pull some of the language from the historic properties around town, gabled roof forms, and kind of playing a little bit with the areas that are glass versus solid, and creating these nice recessed porch conditions for each unit. As Duke mentioned, the condos would be 2 bedroom, 2 bath, typically, roughly about 1,100 square feet each. I believe 16 per floor plate. And then also on the roof,
one thing we haven't talked about is there would be a roof deck amenity up there as well for these tenants, or for the condo owners, I mean. And also an event space up there, or enclosed indoor space that could be used as event space as well.
And both the condos and the townhouses would be part of the same HOA, meaning the condo owners could walk over and use the pool, the townhouse owners could come over and use the rooftop deck interchangeably. So that's a view of it from looking down from the water. That's a view from the boardwalk. And for the phase 4 for the hotel, we do admit that there's a lot of ways the hotel can go. Again, we would bring in a hotel partner to help us design and operate this. But this is a picture of the old historic hotel that used to be here in Colonial Beach. We love, again, a unique boutique hotel that exemplified the character and history of Colonial Beach specifically, not your run-of-the-mill Holiday Inn. I would picture the 60 to 85-ish unit hotel having a pool, a restaurant, some other amenities. And we need to get the parking situation straight there. We want to make sure that if we do take away that town parking, that we have a good substitute, not just for the town's sake, but for our sake, but we all want plenty of parking there by the waterfront. So we're going to work together to figure that out, whether it's a structured parking garage here or elsewhere, but we're going to figure that out before we take away the town parking here. We tried to be brief, but are we open for questions now? Is that okay or no? Or is that?
I'd say a few, yeah,
Okay.
we can take a few.
Sure, if you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
What is the time frame for these phases?
Yes, our proposal is for the first 2 phases, so phase 1 and 2, to close in 6 months or sooner. Phase 3, 6 months after that, and phase 4, 6 months after that. We'd like the option to close sooner, but that would be the kind of worst case scenario in our opinion.
And completion?
Well, we would start construction right away. Each construction time frame is a little different. The office buildings would be 5 months. The hotel would be about a year and a half.
Could you go back to the diagram of the, one more. One more, go.
You want to go
that one? No.
That one.
That one.
Yes.
So those condos and those buildings are to the left of High Tides.
That's correct. Just something.
What about to the right of all of that? Isn't that also property that you're buying or no?
So there's our building, there's High Tides, and there's another parcel included. For now, we want to work with the town. The town has uses they want for that. We're going to work with the town to let them use it where they need to use it for, and then eventually we would like to develop it. I think what we do here and how we can will dictate what that would be. But for now, we picture using it for food trucks, like food vendors that service the folks on the beach. The time will come, we'll probably love to build a building, 3-story building there that has retail apartments or condos, something like that.
Okay.
Yes, in the back.
Who's responsible for bringing in the businesses and the restaurants, the breweries? Who's responsible for getting occupants into all of these places? Because we have a lot of empty infrastructure right now.
Yeah, it's a good question. Us, the answer is us. I mean, we're going to work with a lot of folks here that have ideas. We've already engaged some folks that are opening businesses here. If they would like to open more, we're going to work with them. But it's up to us to market it and bring people here.
Okay, great.
The condos, 2-bedroom condos should sell around $240,000. The 3-bedroom townhouse should sell about $340,000. Yep.
So I have questions. How many, so you're buying the property, what in-kind consideration you're giving to the town in addition to the payments that you're going to give for the properties?
Yeah, so we are working on the development agreement and purchase agreement for the 4 parcels. And I don't know if the town wants to handle that, or do you want to say something, Quinn, or?
The attorney.
Yes.
It's being discussed at this moment, and honestly, I'm not at liberty to discuss those terms, for obvious reasons, but it is being discussed.
What I can share, it's going well, and we haven't hit any roadblocks, but we do understand that there's some other stuff that just can't, that part of this can't be rolled up yet.
So has any consideration been given to set aside certain units for low-income residents? And the reason I'm saying that this town is poor, compared to other towns that are in the same, that are in waterfront. Majority of this type of development usually counties and towns require some set-aside units, usually amounting to 10% of the units, sometimes as high as 20%. Has that is part of the consideration? Is that part of the consideration?
The town has told me that affordable housing is important, and it's important where we are in Richmond as well. In my opinion, these developments aren't the best for affordable housing, but it's something that is important to the town that on future projects we'll start to look at. The retail waterfront is a premium piece of land the town wants to get a lot of money for to make the economics work. It's almost impossible to make that affordable, for example. But there are a lot of parcels in town that I know the town would love to have affordable housing built, and we're certainly willing to try to help with that.
So you're telling me that because this is prime property, our poor town people, the people
No,
that
ma'am.
live in
No,
the
ma'am. What he's
area,
telling you is that,
any type of-
no, ma'am. What he's telling you is that the council has not discussed any of these options with Dotson Builders at this time, okay? That's what he's telling you, so your assumptions are absolutely wrong at this point in time. Nothing has been said about low income at any level at this point in time. Not that it won't be, but nothing has been discussed about it at this time, okay?
But it should be discussed, and can we have the guarantee that that will be part of the discussion, and that information?
It's always part of the discussion, always.
Yes.
Always part of the discussion.
We have a lot of people here that live on social security, and we want to make sure that they can continue living.
Yes, ma'am.
And that they can live in Warren.
Yes, ma'am.
This is their town.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
The low-income people in our community have been in good trust with this town and the people in this town, and we work very, very hard to ensure that. And we will discuss every option for all availability and everything else. I promise you that. So to discuss this tonight is absolutely not the right time. I appreciate it.
And
Thank
can I
you.
speak to that for 1 second? I have history with this group in Richmond, and they do everything they can to balance out
Yeah.
the properties they develop.
Sure, sure.
Historically, they do everything they can to address it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then I have another question. So what happens if you don't find any developers? I mean, any takers? Let's say you try, we have no takers. Nobody is coming to Colonial Beach for businesses. What will happen to that real estate?
That's a good question. So, our lenders require a certain percentage of these properties to be pre-sold or pre-leased to start, and the town is working hard to ensure in the development agreement that we have an obligation to once we close, to perform. And if we don't, there's penalties there, and that's what we're working out with the town council now to ensure proper penalties, that if we don't say what we're gonna do, that we're, as developers, we're penalized.
Yeah, but let's say, can there be a clause, and this is just throwing out there, I know you're in negotiations, but can there be a clause in your contract, and from this by your lawyers, that if that is the case, that piece of property then revert to the town for the town usage?
I think that's a great point that the town council should work with us on the development agreement. I think there needs to be as a developer, the town doesn't want us to buy and sit on the land forever. They want us to develop and put it in use, and that's what we want to do. And so it will be incentivized to do so for the development agreements.
No, but, and don't get me wrong, as a town resident.
Okay, next question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're not there yet. So you're way ahead of yourself. We're going into closed session tonight to have some other discussions, but you're way ahead of yourself right now. But I do appreciate it, and if you write down your concerns, we'll certainly entertain every aspect of it. I promise you that. And I think Maureen, did you have a question?
Yes. I just wondered, what is the height and width of the townhouses?
To the roof line would be 30 feet.
How much?
30 feet.
30 feet?
And the width is, I'm sorry,
I get
24 feet.
24?
Yep.
What about condos?
The condos, I believe, were 24 feet wide also.
Okay. And they're tall, wise?
I think as they're drawn right now, to the lower edge of the roof line is 32 feet.
32 feet.
Of the roof line? Close to 40?
I think it's a bit under 40.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the community going to be brought into the process before it gets too far and work beyond where the community can have input? Like community, like a committee or something.
Like how? I mean, like the negotiation of the contract, or?
Negotiation of the contract, what actually is gonna be
No.
put in there, the roof, I mean.
No, I mean, obviously, the council, it would be hard to negotiate with 300 people, okay?
That's why I
So,
said committee, not.
we don't do that, so obviously it's not common practice. But what will happen is that the council will meet with these folks. We're gonna meet with them again tonight. We have our lawyer here. This is Vivian. I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
Giles.
Okay. Anyway, Vivian is here representing us in the sale or the sale of this property. And she is our representation for that. Okay, she's not here as the attorney representing the town for this meeting, like we would normally have an attorney here for legal counsel. However, she's actually can do that because she's also a municipal lawyer and understands proceedings in these meetings. So with that, we are, as soon as this meeting is over, we're going to a closed session to discuss some more, have more discussion on what we've been having. Has been ongoing for about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So, you know, if you're elated that this is going to happen, we're not there yet. If you're potentially upset that it's going to happen, we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. But hopefully, something's going to happen, and you know, hopefully we'll get there. Whatever. So.
Can I say one thing on that? We are your elected officials, and this is a community meeting to get you exposed to what we are negotiating right now. And I look forward to receiving, please contact me. Your email, you have questions, you have concerns that you want to make sure get addressed in these negotiations. That's what your elected officials are for. And I think this is a first run. I've already asked our town manager to ask the group to also present again at the planning commission, because I know that this is going to take some time to digest, even after the first time that we saw this, which was only 2 weeks ago. I mean, we've been talking, but you know, just 2 weeks ago, it took some time to, you know, think about the effects on the community, ask the right questions. I'm still coming up with questions. I'm still doing research, and I look forward to, you know, serving you in that way. I also have reached out to DHCD. I talked to some people that have worked with you guys. Evan Kaufman, had a great conversation with him. He did work with you through Hopewell and then through other things. We're vetting them, you know. I mean, this is a process. It's not quick. It takes time. So far, to be honest with you, everything I have heard has been amazing, and that's very encouraging. But there is a level of skepticism and certainly lots of questions. So I'm glad that they're here today. This is the beginning to that community dialogue.
And real quick, I just want to be clear. There's legal consequences and proprietary consequences that we just can't discuss as a council with everybody at certain times during this thing, obviously, because it just wouldn't be fair to the Dotson group, especially if there's other suitors at any point in time. It's just not fair. So with that, you know, some of this stuff is done in closed session for a reason. However, like Robin says, we'll be as transparent as we possibly can to keep it legal, if that makes sense. Real quick, behind you, Dr. Karen.
The location of these, are these in front of the existing condominiums?
Yes.
Okay. And is the height of these going to affect the view of the existing condominium owners? I mean, from here, it looks like the condos are a lot taller, but just, you know, looking at it from a view that way.
I haven't been there to look at it, but I would say that probably at some level it could potentially obscure the view.
First 2 floors, certainly.
Yeah.
Or maybe not after that.
Yeah, probably the first 2 floors. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be perfectly honest, we wanted on the waterfront to go taller. We were asked to keep it lower to not obstruct views. We're trying to find a nice compromise that doesn't fully obstruct views from any of the condos. And so I think, to be fair, it'll partially obstruct some views, but not completely.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to make an observation. As you know, I'm a realtor in town, and there's something like 10 houses for sale in Colonial Beach right now. I have at least that many, clients who are looking for places to buy in Colonial Beach, and there is nothing. So, I'm so excited about this. I think you guys have done a great job of trying to match the style with the style of the community, and I think that it's going to be a very positive move for the town.
I don't remember hearing anything about what you would build this with in terms of hurricane and flooding. Is that something that you actually thought of? And
That's an
also
architect.
gonna raise the price up?
That's an architect question. I'll let James.
Honestly, we're not there yet. This is very conceptual at this point, and as we get further into the design process, we're going to be engaging structural engineer to help us determine that, also civil engineers. And as an architect, that's not my specialty, but obviously the consultants that we work with will help engage that.
Yes, sir.
I think it's fair to say that the development agreement will be done in maybe 60 days. Maybe 60 days, 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, at what point are we going to sell the land? Because you need to have a public hearing for the sale of the land, followed by a council action, which is another month or two after that. So it sounds like you probably couldn't close on this thing much before year end. What do you think?
I mean, we'd be ready to close on phase one when the town is ready. My guess is your timeline sounds pretty accurate, yeah.
I think it's feasible to do it before November, Joe, or in that time frame. Right now, the attorneys on both sides are making very quick progress.
Having negotiated.
There was already, Joe, there was already a public hearing on those parcels of land.
Right.
That's already been completed.
So you can skip one and just go to a.
Yeah, it was already done. We were told to sell it all. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just one quick question. Is this part of a master plan? Do you have a master plan for the beachfront?
Do we have a master plan?
There's a business district.
We're gonna have this building, and then next to it, we're gonna build something else, and then something else. You have a master plan for the beachfront of Long Beach.
It's called the Business District Revitalization Plan.
So you have a 5, 10-year, 20-year plan of what you're gonna be building in the ocean front, or the
It gives guidelines and guidance. You can find it online on our website, the Business District Revitalization Plan.
Okay, so if I go online, I will see that and what you're planning for the
So that gives guidelines because it's about 10 years old. And then nothing happened with this property, and it sat and sat and sat, and the truth is that the way that it was not really being marketed prior to this council didn't facilitate any growth there, and none of that plan was getting accomplished. And so we've been working for the last 2 years to accomplish this kind of economic development in the downtown.
6 years.
No, 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years. So for 6 years, you have been planning this.
No.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you from here.
Okay.
Other mask.
I'll be happy to, we have a plan for the downtown district. That's online, so you're welcome to take a look at it online. That plan's been in place for 10 years. For 10 years or more. And these properties have sat empty for, it seems like forever, for people that lived here for a long time, like most of us. No, did we plan on that a 3-story building was gonna go in that spot, or that this was gonna happen in that spot? No. Some of these properties already exist. We didn't plan that the elementary school was gonna burn down and leave us that empty space up there. So no, that wasn't planned. But we have an opportunity to move forward with a great group of what appears to be a great development group who has proven track records in other parts of the state that we've looked at and are very appealing to us, and I think will be very appealing to the community, our guests, and future residents of this town. And so, yeah, we're going to give them our full-time attention. Yes, sir.
So have you given consideration to any other possibilities or any other options other than the government?
There haven't been any.
So no other options?
None.
Something for the town
Nothing.
something built for the town?
Nothing.
Nothing? So
No, sir.
You haven't, okay, so you have not explored anything else? This is the only option that we have for that section of land?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much right now, yes, yeah.
Will you be giving?
Okay, hang on one second, Joyce?
I wanted to respond to this gentleman.
Okay.
This plan is not the entirety of the downtown. There is a planning process going on right now of soliciting opinions about the downtown and what should be in the downtown. Building upon those original planning documents. And we would be glad to receive your thoughts about what is downtown. This is occurring through downtown Colonial Beach, the Virginia Main Street organization. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Main Street organizations have a commitment to share prosperity. And we are concerned about the long-term residents in this town, the full-time residents, the working families, the essential workers, the tourism workers, the seniors, and so forth. And a little bit later, I can describe the grant that we're working with, where these types of things will be considered and hopefully included in design for throughout the day. There is public property downtown. There's also some private property downtown and some privately owned lots.
Okay. Joyce, thank you very much for that explanation, and I'm going to cut off the questions at this point in time. If we do indeed go to contract, obviously the Planning Commission is going to get it first. You can certainly send any questions to the Planning Commission. And as Vice Mayor Schick said, the council is always open. I get plenty of questions pretty much every day of the week via email or whatever. And what I can answer, I will. Otherwise, I'll direct it hopefully to the proper people to have your questions answered for you. But the council will do everything we can do to vet this out to make sure that it's most appropriate for the town and the people in this town. We all live here, we all pay taxes. In fact, everybody here has been in this town for a long time. So, we know the deal, we know what the community wants, we know I know pretty much every single person out there, quite frankly, so I know the council does too. And so, you know where we live, you know where we are, and you know just stop and talk to us if you have any questions. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much to the Dotson Group.
Yes. Oh, are you gonna stay for closed session?
You want us to?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think so.
No. The planning commission meeting in September is the 24th of September. And maybe we'll have some questions in that you can prepare for, and we can, because another, try to do this as much as we need to do this in order to kind of filter out all of the things. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to do something we haven't done for a while, which is some brief presentations. If you have something, if you're one of the NGOs or one of the groups that have
Mr.
something,
Mayor, would it be advantageous to take 5 minutes? I think some people might
I
be.
prefer to take 2 minutes
Yes, sir.
That's fine.
if we're going to do it. We're going to take a 2-minute recess. 2 minutes.
Oh, good. I can work with this then. Okay, what is it doing? Why on it? Doors. And I should love it. In the back, there's a room out in the hallway. Alright. 2-minute recess means if you're not staying, get out. I said 2-minute recess means if you're not staying, get out. I am so no longer.
Yes, sir, I can do that. Good afternoon, everyone. So Colonial Beach Public Schools, we have started virtually. We have, if I had wood there, we not gonna say. It's been good. It really has been good. Our teachers are coming to work every day, engaging our students virtually, remotely. We've handed out over 600 iPads, and right now approaching about 100 mobile hotspots. We've initiated a new program called Virtual Virginia. We use that platform to educate our students in what is called Canvas. And it's going well. I mean, we've had our hiccups. I'm not going to say that we haven't had some struggles sometimes for students and parents to connect, but for the most part, it's been successful. So I'm really proud of the team, the teachers, the districts for just really putting a good foot forward. So as of right now, it's going well.
Very good. Thank you very much. Council, any questions for the superintendent? No? Thank you very much, Mr. Turner. I appreciate all your work. What's Westmoreland County Supervisor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I just have 1 minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Eddie. I just wanted to follow up with what Dr. Turner said. Not only is everything going well with the virtual learning, but we are also sending out the school bus every day. So it's on their regular school route that they would normally pick kids up.
Okay.
They're actually going around and dropping off lunch for the day and breakfast for the next morning.
Wow.
So every student in town has the opportunity to meet the bus at the bus stop and pick up your lunch and your breakfast. So, you know, those are just additional things that we're doing, that we're getting out to the community for, because we don't want these kids not to have their lunch.
No,
so,
for sure. Thank you.
Just for that.
I just want to say really quickly that this school is setting the bar in our region, if you don't know that Westmoreland County Schools, when I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting, has used our school system as the example. We are the leaders in this, that our cleaning staff went down to train their cleaning staff, that our technology has gotten out to every student first, that we are on schedule while everyone else is delaying. So it's a lot to be proud of. And so
Mr. Trivet, do you want to speak now or do you want to speak later?
Oh, it's whatever you want.
Okay.
You want to wait till later?
It's up to you.
I'm not going to take a lot of time.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know about a couple of things that happened in our meeting on the 10th. I think it's worth noting that Gwen Chatham, who most of us know, 50 years at the clerk's office. In 1970, she became the deputy clerk. And in 1996, she became the circuit court clerk, and she's been there 50 years. She's not retired, but she's been there a long time. And she was recognized, as well as Danny Jones, who retired from the Westmoreland County Sheriff's Office with 28 years in law enforcement, 12 and a half years at the Sheriff's Office. And Peggy Campbell, who served on the Board of Zoning Appeals for the last 10 years, was reappointed to that board again. And also David Coombs, who served on the Social Services Board for the past 6 years, he was reappointed to that board again. And there are some people that live in Colonial Beach that are on other boards who their tenure has expired, and we're going to try to reach out to them to see if they're interested in continuing to serve. The Northern Neck Regional Broadband Initiative, the county set aside $200,000 for that. It's going to start up in Stafford. As we all know, there's a lot of areas there where there's no internet connection. It's creating problems even for students in hotspots, and so that's been set aside, but that's where it'll begin when they start running it, and then it'll go all the way down through the Northern Neck. If there's any questions anybody has for me tonight?
Council? No. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Planning Commission?
Good evening. I'm Victoria Luna, Chair of the Planning Commission. I just wanted to give you brief highlights about our last meeting that we had in July. First, a comprehensive plan update. The Commission has had its first peek at a preliminary plan that we are working on and taking comments on right now. Also, the Commission asked and agreed upon having the Northern Neck Planning District Commission help us with the review of the document, and we're very grateful for that. Also, we've been working with RAFT, an environmental group, to look at, to help us review the plan for issues relating to flooding and rising tide and hazard mitigation, and strategies to include in that plan. We're also working on the future land use map for the comprehensive plan and GIS mapping. Also, the second thing is that we're looking at the development standards for R1 and R2 zoning ordinance for sidewalks and curb and gutter requirements. The commission considered the requirement that builders install sidewalks and curb and gutter for infill and redevelopment. Currently, the planning director and the director of public works can waive requirements for that. And that's important in terms of issues relating to the flow of water with curb and gutter installation. Also, properties that without sidewalks that are adjacent to properties without with sidewalks are going to look unusual. But the commission talked about the necessity for sidewalks as it's expressed in our comprehensive plan and also in the ordinance itself. And we feel like it's a good place to start, at least. So we're going to be discussing that at our next meeting as well. And also the fact that curb and gutters are different from sidewalks. There's a concern that with curb and gutter, that stormwater management needs to be part of that scenario. Otherwise, if you had a curb and gutter on one property, it might allow or cause the inundation of water to pool in the properties adjacent to that. So we're looking at that. And the last two items, very briefly, is we talked about the playground at Eleanor Park, and the commission expressed concerns about Castlewood Park safety and proximity with all the traffic and the boat launch area. And then lastly, we talked about the use of Eleanor Park as an RV park. The commission briefly discussed and expressed concerns about the impact of large vehicles on the very narrow roads and also compliance with the Chesapeake Bay Act. And that's my update.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Any questions? Joyce, downtown Pomona Beach. Sorry, downtown Pomona Beach. Joyce Robert.
Glad to be here and see people for a change. Downtown Colonial Beach has been very busy behind the scenes. You folks know, but I don't know how many in the audience know, that the town was awarded the cost-sharing grant for historic surveying in the downtown and application for historic designation. On Friday, I just signed MOU for a grant we were awarded by Virginia Main Street, and that's what I was referring to earlier, to do designs for the downtown to guide development. And these guides, or these designs, would be based on community recommendations and preferences, and to reinforce and maintain the historic character of our downtown. These designs then will go into a marketing brochure. It was going to be directed to investors we hope would buy properties downtown. That may not be what's needed, but we have heard from Virginia Main Street that if properties are sold, that we will be able to redirect that marketing brochure and our efforts there towards attracting retail to occupy the development. We are engaging the public in re-contributing ideas and their thoughts about what they want in their downtown without reinventing the wheel. All of the planning documents that have been referred to are on the Downtown Colonial Beach website under resources. Currently, various nonprofit groups are each reviewing one of these documents to see if there are things that are missing or new conditions or things that have been missed, and submitting them for use with the designer. And we are inviting other members of the community to do likewise. We hope by September 15th to maybe do a Zoom meeting with Councilmember Schick talking about common design elements for the downtown, and Rob Murphy to talk about engineering concerns and maybe the planning department as well. This will be handed over to a designer, and we have until May 31st to come up with these designs and produce this brochure and market. We hope to be collaborating with any developers that come into town to express these needs. I just spoke to the person who purchased Doc's Motor Court today. So otherwise, we hope everybody checks out the Colonial Beach Virtual Osprey Festival. Any money we raise from that will apply to our next project, which we hope will be trees and landscaping for Colonial Avenue.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. Chamber? Susan? Yeah, do you want to, I'm just giving, oh no, sorry. Chamber of Commerce, anybody here? No, sorry, my bad. It's an old habit. Local Beach Foundation. There, my glasses fogged up. All right, Eric. I know where you belong. I know where you're from.
Good evening, everyone. It is nice to see everyone, and nice to be making a presentation about what the foundation's been up to. We have been working on a bunch of different things, a lot of internal processes, which I won't bore you with, but we've also been working with the Chamber to put together the 2 candidates forums like we normally do. So the 2 candidate forums will be on September 14th and 15th. The 14th will be the mayoral forum, and the 15th will be the forum for the candidates for the council. And I want to thank the superintendent of schools for letting us use the school. The event will be live and, of course, socially distanced with appropriate safeguards for masks and so forth. But it'll also be a live Facebook event, and it'll also be broadcast on the radio. Now, because of all of these kind of ways we're trying to broadcast it, there won't be any questions that will be taken on site or through Facebook, and obviously not through the radio. So we are reaching out right now to the community to get questions for both the mayoral candidates and for the candidates for the council. So put that on your calendar, the 14th and the 15th at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 more or less. The foundation's also been started working with the Westmoreland Department of Social Services. We're supporting an effort that they're making to try to bring social services that they do directly to the residents of Colonial Beach. So we're going to be letting them use the community center for that purpose. We also have rescheduled, but now it's kind of firm in place, the Beach Music Festival. It's going to be September 19th, and it's going to be at the Moose Lodge. They have a huge outdoor facility that will be used for that event. We are changing the name of it from festival to concert, just so that there's less of an expectation about the size and the number of people that will be there. So anyway, that's going to be on September 19th. That's a week, I believe it's a week later than it was originally scheduled. So mark your calendar for that too. And that's pretty much what we've been up to.
Is the venue the same, or the musicians the same?
No.
It's the Band of Oz.
Okay. Very good. Yeah. Very good. Okay.
And it's limited to 200.
Oh, thank you. Limited to 200.
Okay.
And by the way, the event at the school, the 2 forums is also going to be somewhat limited too, because we do want to make sure that we're socially distant. So, if you plan on coming in person, make sure you come early, like tonight, so you can get a chair.
Very good. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Colonial Beach Recreation? They leave? Okay. Steve, CP Green Space?
I talked to this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Okay, new business. Resolution 30-20 approves the second amendment to the lease agreement between the town of Colonial Beach and BB&T Bank for the police department. We discussed this somewhat at length in the work session, so we should be mostly prepared to act on this, I would think, right now. Is there a motion to approve resolution 30-20?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Shea?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Okay. Resolution 31-20 accepts the resignation of town attorney James Cornwell. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yeah, I just was going to say that. Yeah, I'm just going to say that this is really difficult for a lot of us. I know a lot of folks didn't get a chance to spend much time with Jim, but he is a solid character, great legal counsel, and somebody I was very proud to have the opportunity, albeit short, to work with. He got us moving in the right direction in a lot of ways, and taught us a whole bunch of things that will keep with us for the rest of our lives anyway. So, wishing Jim the best, and with that, we'll vote. Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. Hine?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Shea? Chair votes aye. Resolution 32-20 accepts the resignation of zoning administrator Richard Douglas. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? I'd like to say, if you don't know, Richard took a job in Portsmouth, I believe, or Surrey?
It's Sussex County.
Sussex County, I believe, as their
County Administrator.
County Administrator. So he's doing well. He's closer to home, and so he was happy. It was a great opportunity for him. We're glad. Sorry to see him go, but glad to see he had a great opportunity. With that, we'll vote. Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Shea?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Resolution 33-20 appoints interim zoning administrator Kathleen Easley to the position of zoning administrator. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. She comes, I'd say that Kathleen comes very highly qualified. She's been with us for a year, and she practiced her craft on the water in St. Mary's County as well. So she's very familiar with the Bay Act and things of that nature, which is a huge help to us. With that, we'll take the vote. Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Shea?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Welcome, Kathleen. Full time. Okay, resolution 34-20 appropriates fiscal year 2020-2021 budget school fund. That's in tab E of our books here.
This is the grant.
Yeah, it's just a grant.
This is a grant, yeah.
And I believe we got some extra literature, is that correct? Oh, this is correct. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anyway, we've looked at this. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Mr. Alger?
Aye.
Mr. I?
Aye.
Ms. Roberson?
Aye.
Ms. Shea?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you.
There's a grant for $102,000 for the business.
We don't get all of that money.
Right.
That means it's.
They're being the fiscal agent. You're being the fiscal agent for it.
Yes.
Okay.
And the backup shows you where they're dispersing money to
Who
their
has the fiscal
send all that money out to all the other school districts.
That's what backup is. See, look at you being a leader again.
I just wanted you all to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
thank
money
you.
that we're getting. They just want to send it to one school, and then that school has to disperse.
Sure, yeah, that's
And
fine.
that's what
We're the
Yeah.
most responsible ones.
Right, you're the clearinghouse
We're
for it.
responsible
Yeah.
ones.
Gotcha. Okay, so status items, the CARES Act. We're gonna get an update from the manager and our CFO on the CARES Act.
Yeah, I gave you the presentation. So far to date, we have requested $111,425.88 from Westmoreland County. As of the 19th, we have received $71,267.20. I'm still waiting on reimbursements of $40,158.68. And as you see, I have a note there that $11,476.26 was actually approved in the August 10th meeting of that $40,000 we're waiting for. The other ones are recent additions. So if you look at the last page there, you know we had this discussion about the county using 19% of our funding of the 313. So to date right now, they have actually spent $109,729.65 of our $313,000, which still remaining, has 126.29 that we have left.
That's not monies that we requested, that's monies that they spent.
Yeah, the
Without our
109 is money that they spent, not that we requested. These were county expenses, they say our share. And, you know, so in reality, the bottom line is, from our calculations of the 313, we still have $201,000 left. The county is only saying we have 120.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All
We're
right.
still waiting on some quotes from Eastside Glass for what we talked about in the work session for the partitions and things like that.
Okay.
Got any questions?
This is just kind of falls into this a little bit. I don't want to delay it, but somebody dropped off a brochure to me at my house, and it's I don't know if they're somewhere in the county, but they do something to the floor. It's some kind of sanitizing thing. I guess it's a machine that sits there and does it all day long. So I said I'd just bring it to you guys. So I don't even know if that's required in the sanitation thing.
We are getting ready to, our insurance company, Versa, has given us some instructions. VOSHA has put out their regulations, their final regulations.
Good.
So we're going to be reviewing those, and we have had to train the entire staff on VOSHA's regulations. So we will be doing that in the next week.
Okay, very good.
In addition to that, for the good of the public, I would like to just point out that in our last session, we identified that it would be smart to go ahead and look at outsourcing additional beach ambassadorship, as well as outsourcing some of the public works sanitation along the beach areas, the bathrooms. We've been diligently working to try to find a couple of companies. We have not received quote yet. But when we do receive the quote or the quotes, depending on what we're able to find, we consider it's going to be pricey because everybody's looking for them and they're at a premium right now.
Yeah.
So just wanted to remind council that we have that going on in the back.
Yeah. If you don't know, because you weren't here, we had job opportunities for playground attendants who would basically come and monitor the playgrounds and would keep the playground equipment clean and sanitized per the governor's request and VDH and all the CDC and the rest. And we had, I think, 15 respondents.
Yes.
And then when we reached back out to them, nobody wanted to do it. And so it's not that we're not trying. We're trying really, really hard to find help to do this stuff. And I think we were offering $10 an hour. It's just tough times right now. I mean, and the reason I'm saying this is because I've had a lot of questions about why aren't the playgrounds open. Well, that's pretty much why the playgrounds aren't open. If you do notice, We clean these bathrooms in town like every hour. It rotates every hour they get cleaned. So, and they have to in order for our beaches to remain open. So that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Real quick, Eric.
Yeah, one of the board members of the foundation today made a suggestion to me, which I thought was really interesting, which is that what about if we found volunteers to do the cleaning and you paid to the foundation the amount that you would have paid if it was a paid person. We can use that money to then support towards Smith Park or some other activity, but it maybe is a way for us to contribute and get some funding from the town that would equate to what you were going to pay anyway.
I'll leave that up to the Quinn and the CFO to discuss with you, because I don't know what the guidelines are with this CARES Act stuff, which is there's a lot of red tape involved in it as well as the training for being a certified sanitizer and things like that. I know we've all been doing it most of our lives anyway, but it's new. This is all new. So, and that's good.
Yeah, well, if Mr. Nelson can get with us, I think the issue is going to be the legal liability from a VML insurance standpoint. I love the idea, and that would be the hole that needs to be filled right now in our community. To be fantastic. I don't know what bureaucracy is going to do to the idea,
Yeah,
but we'll go back and we'll take a look.
Yeah, even if we just pick one park, one playground to open, Torrey Smith Park or something, to have it open so they can play tennis and basketball and such as well. I agree with it. We just got to put over $500,000 brand new park, and it's sitting there. So, okay, is that it for the CARES Act? Any questions from council to the staff on the CARES Act stuff? No. Okay. We're going to go into citizens input. I'm going to ask you to keep it, if you're representing yourself, keep it to 3 minutes. At 3 minutes mark, Heather's going to raise her hand, and I'm going to tell you that your time's up. So I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just going to keep it to time. If you're representing a group, a certified group or a group that we recognize, you have 5 minutes, okay? So that's how we're going to roll tonight. But Lizette?
Hi, this is the homework from the last meeting. Do you want the copies? Yes. This is regarding the development on Eleanor Park. While you receive the copies, I want to make a personal statement about the Dodson development. Having worked in the federal government and seeing all sorts of development with this kind of development, it's an eyesore when a developer fails. The questions I was asking is because of my experience. And I have to tell you, there are pieces of land that the federal government has sought developments where they are tied up to 75 years. And there's nothing we can do. If that developer fails, we may lose our waterfront and the rights to that property for a long time. And the legal fees will be amazing, incredible. So what I am trying to say, we need to make sure that that developer succeeds. We need to make sure that the town receives some revenue, and we need to make sure that we all go together in that journey. And the key will be success for everyone. With that being said, I was given a homework. So I did my homework. For the Eleanor Park, the mayor asked me, can you do the math to see how much we will generate for 6 houses? That was the number. But I think he mentioned 500K. But I said, look, maybe we don't need that kind of big houses. Maybe we can go smaller and have other amenities for the community. And I started at 250,000. With 250,000, I verified all the numbers. You will gain $120,000 in our cover out of for taxes. And that goes up to 500,000, where you will be earning $240,000 in taxes. Now, we have $1 million for the purchase. So the purchase of the land is $1 million, and I derived $1 million because the mayor said they had offered from 900 to 1.2. So it's $1 million is good. So the S&P 500 average 8%. That's the money that you receive constantly. So 8% is a good estimate, and that has been for the past 50 years. You know, it goes up and down. One year you may receive 20%, and the other year you may receive 5%, but average 8%. With that being said, you will receive an additional $80,000 just to have that money in an account. With that being said, the total proceeds from the park, from having houses, if they are small, at $250,000, it will be $200K per year.
I gotta cut you off. I'm sorry, your 3 minutes is up. Sorry. Yeah.
You have the numbers set.
Thank you for doing the homework. I appreciate that.
May I say something? You have 2 extra. This is not new. This is happening all over the world. Toronto is dealing with this. I keep on telling people, think, brothers. Think also about peers. Peer generate money. So Toronto, you have the development. They have a pool. They have something between the houses. And they also have a pier that they actually rent for activities. Okay. And they have very good dogs.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. David Williams.
Good afternoon. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak again tonight, but I figured sign up just in case. And there are a few things that I had forgotten to mention before, but my wife and I have actually talked to Lisette, and she has some great ideas for the town. And one of them that was been discussed, and I think this town council, and maybe you've already all discussed this in the past, is a swimming pool for the town. People come to this town, they don't have anywhere they can go swim in. The older people that live here, retirees, can't do water aerobics. There's nothing for the town as far as water sports other than going into the rivers. So I just wanted to suggest maybe whatever they do with that Eleanor Park, or maybe somebody somewhere else in town, maybe they could put a swimming pool. But that would be awesome. And I looked online and Lisette agreed, there's grants out there for pools. The government will actually give up to 50% or more for a town to get a pool. So definitely something to consider. As far as Castlewood Park goes, I keep hearing the safety issues. My concern is it really dangerous down there? I walk my dog by there every day. I never feel like I'm in danger or going to get hit or anything like that. I see plenty of kids playing in there, so I just wanted to, say that maybe we should reconsider, dismantling a perfectly good park to move it and spend, $100 grand to move the park and fence it in. I think there could be a fence down there. My last comment would be, I've only been here a couple of years in Colonial Beach, and as I said in the last town council meeting, I'm right there, between Irving and Monroe Bay, so I'm right in the middle of it all. From what I've heard from neighbors that have lived there for 30, 40, 50 years, is there was a time period in history when that was all open to the public and people came in, and what ended up happening was apparently a big mess from what I heard. Feces everywhere, just people grilling and throwing their ashes and their coals everywhere. Basically the park was just taken over by people coming into town. So my concern is if Eleanor Park is turned into just a big mess public where anybody that comes from outside comes in, that the same thing could happen. So I just wanted to voice my concern about that as well. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Green.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How you doing tonight?
Good, Mr. Green.
I got a question, just one that I've got for this evening. When Resolution 2920 was passed on the July the 15th meeting, line number 7 of the resolution said that the equipment for the new park at Eleanor Park needed to be purchased no later than 31 July. Have we purchased that yet?
I don't think we purchased it this time.
No, we have not purchased it. We've gone through the procurement process and been able to identify an awardee that allows us to go through purchasing. So I haven't cut the check, but we've identified who we're going to cut the check to.
Can you cut the check, parliamentary question here, can you cut the check after that 31 July without having an amendment to the resolution?
I defer to legal.
Yes,
Yes, you can.
yes.
No later than 31 July. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Walter?
He's out the one. I'll let
Well, first of all, I'm going to give you a history lesson. Back in the gambling days, when the program was built, where the islands were, there was a gambling barge, and they went out on weekends, and they went out on the Potomac, and that's when the gambling, back in, when I was in school, that's when the gambling ceased in Colonial Beach. The other thing, I went to a town official and I complained to this official concerning high tides hosting a mini bike fest. The chamber had canceled all the events, including Bike Fest. I'm against the owners of high tides hosting a mini Bike Fest for the one reason: they have no regard for the safety of our town.
Can I say something real quick, just so this doesn't get misconstrued? That has since been rescinded. That was apparently a misconversation amongst them. I was told by the head of the Chamber of Commerce that that is a moot issue. It's not occurring. That they're not having a unofficial bike fest or a mini bike fest or whatever you want to call it. That's not happening. That was a miscommunication of some sort, was the way it was explained to me 3 days ago or 4 days ago.
Is that going to happen?
It's not happening.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's no longer on their Facebook
It's
page?
not. It's not happening. That's what they told me, was they took it off, they took it down. It's not being advertised in any way, shape, or form. It's not promoted. It's not anything. That's what I was told by the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce on today's Monday or Friday, or both maybe. So, yeah. So anyway, that's what I was told. Joyce, is it Joyce?
I always get last. I should get your.
I couldn't read. I didn't see.
I would have to be after a while.
I didn't recognize the middle name.
I'm Joyce Gunderson. I live on Bryan Avenue, 919. First off, I'm talking quick. On the hill beside, across from Hoonan's, I want to tell you that the Public Works has jumped on it. Everybody says, hey, did you get those things? Well, first Eddie said it was okay. The sign, all of the bushes are horrible. They've been taken away. We're working on it. And please, I do not have a green thumb. Anybody that wants to help me, they're more than welcome to help me. There's a perfect. I'll pay y'all pay. Whatever. I want that thing to finally look good, okay? My next thing on a serious note. I have talked about Jackson Street and a speed bump, but I want to talk, I have heard through the grapevine, and some people here have asked me to speak. Are we low on policemen? And if we are, what are we going to do as a town? What do you want, what can we do if we really are, we want things to, we're all concerned. So on a serious note, Bruce, we're saying we want whatever it takes for us, we need to do that as a town. So,
I will just, you're welcome to make an appointment with the police chief and or Quinn and me or all three of us together, however you want to do it. But I will just tell you up front that we still have the same amount of feet on the streets every day as we had before. They are working a little harder right now, but we are filling the void as we speak right now.
That's all we need to hear.
That's what we're doing.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, you bet. Okay.
I think we've already hired that.
Yeah, that's very important, as you know, but not something we really want to talk a whole lot about. So, anyway, okay. There's a motion to go into a closed meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Can you read us into a closed meeting?
There is a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter, subject being sale of town-owned real property.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.